Let's focus on the mission at hand here.
What's
boys.
up, Ace? It's Tentacles.
Hey.
And I'll be taking a little bit of a look here at your videos
I got you, Genji.
that you requested to have taken a look at.
Oh.
So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I say something helpful. And let's get into it.
Discorded. Farrah's discorded. Farrah, she's weak.
It's right there. I think this is a good Discord target. Unfortunately, it looked like your Genji was looking elsewhere.
Monkey's discorded.
Your Ana was in the back. I didn't really get to hear whether the Winston dove in, but if you hear the Winston dive, especially if it's up there, like you knew that your Ana was up there with you, and got to throw a healing orb on her. At this point, I don't think it was a great move to jump down onto the point, even though you were contesting. Excuse me, even though you were one of the few people contesting. Let me back up. So like right here, as Zen, when you're sitting up here, this is a pretty good position. Especially considering they had a Mercy down on the low ground. And a Roadhog. Like they can't really reach you from down there. You did have this guy over here, I think it was a Junkrat. And no, that's a Genji. Anyway. He was on point kind of contesting a little bit, but when you're Zen and you just drop down, especially when you drop down to a Roadhog, you're like the easiest target to get hooked in the game. So that was pretty much almost a free kill. Free feasting onto the Zen.
We got this, guys. Keep holding. We got this. Good job on the
Fortunately, your team
just
took care of business. So now we go up, get reset up here.
Hello. Oh, fair on the far right. Yep. Roadhog's at Discord. Roadhog.
So right here, I think you miss another few chances to get a healing orb on right now. You have a healing orb on Diva, but she's not really getting focused, and she's near full HP.
I have healing on.
You had your Rhine, which your Rhine just died. I mean, there's not a whole lot of healing orb would have done in that situation.
The Farrah's all in the back.
And back there a little bit, I saw that you had the chance to orb your Genji if you jump back here just a little bit.
Fair on the far right.
So right there, your Genji was taking damage. You can see him. He's yellow right there.
Roadhog's at Discord. Roadhog.
And he was still kind of fighting. So I think a healing orb on Genji would be pretty good because you know that he's going to get focused, especially by the Winston here pretty soon.
The Farrah's all in the back. Monkey's discorded.
So like at this point in time, you're down at least 3 people. There's not a whole lot you can do.
And on point.
I mean, this was not a good use of trance. Like you've stalled the point a little bit, but now you don't even have transfer when you respawn, and they're almost guaranteed the point anyway. But we make the switch off to Lucio, so it's not like the ultimate was needed for the next fight anyway.
Alright, let's hold back. Let's go back. Just pull back. Pull back past the bus around the curve. We don't need to hold them anywhere closer. Let them come into us because we need to use our cover.
I think that when you first start defending this point,
no, we're doing
you're in a pretty good position to defend at the front of the bus as opposed to back here. Because when the attacking team comes in, if they manage to get that high ground, especially if you go against higher level teams and they have a soldier or mostly a soldier, but also Farrah with a Mercy, they can just post up in the top left area. When you back up, you kind of give free access to the attacking team up there.
Back behind the bus, guys. Don't push up.
Whereas if you stand closer to the front of the bus, you can see when the attacking team is pushing in. You can see when they're pushing up top on the left, or when they push to the health pack on the left side. Like if you just let them walk in, they can take control of this little hallway that you just went through, and that's a pretty good position. It's got good cover and it's got that health pack there.
job, Diva. Nice job. Yeah, you gotta target that Pharah, soldier. That's your only target right now.
So right now you're getting whole hogged, and there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, I know that the like the desire is to contest point, but when you're getting whole hogged away, you don't really want to try to go in against it. Like, you don't want to fight upstream. Just let it carry you further and further away from the other team, because especially like you didn't have a whole lot of backup.
Oh,
so just going back and regrouping with your team would have been good. And that was a sick snipe. Holy cow.
That was a good snipe.
2 headshots. There's not much you can do against that.
Let's get the Mercy's down. Mercy's down.
Right here, this is pretty good. It's good that you amped up healing right there. You were able to help out your teammates a lot. That was good.
All right, they're Zen ulted. That's good. That's good for us.
And here, this is a dangerous spot. That Roadhog could have had hook. He could have hooked you really easily. So, like, as soon as you see that, if you didn't see that he just used hook, you need to book it the fuck out of there. And that's also just another unlucky thing. Like, nobody else was around you. Nobody could have contested that Widow. It's just a matter of communication. Hey, there's that Widow up there, and you, as the healer, need to be sure you stay out of that line of sight. I think that you didn't need to pop beat right there. Like, in the time that you popped beat, you could have continued to fight this Zen. You could have done like another 4-round burst with a melee and bursted him down. So you tag him once and then you drop the beat. And there's this Pharah that's ulting. Like, I don't know if you were ulting in response to that Pharah, just from like reaction hitting beat as soon as you hear the voice line. But if you had the chance to see that she was ulting basically from the floor, it's really not going to do a whole lot of damage, because she has to direct rocket you every time, and your Ryan's got a shield up. Like, the Pharah barrage looks scary. It looks like it does a lot of damage because it's all going into the Ryan shield. But if she's ulting horizontally, that's generally not doing much. Like, you could kind of see you were standing in the middle of the barrage there for a second, and it wasn't doing a whole lot to you. Like, you had beat up,
get that Pharah.
but it still didn't do a whole lot of damage.
It's on top of that payload. The monkey's almost down. Monkey's almost down. Focus him out.
That's a good call out
Nice
to focus the monkey.
We have both the healers on the point. Focus those healers. Right,
at this point, you need to run away. Just don't even try to contest. Just run away. Like, your team needs more people alive more than it needs like a Lucio damage just to contest.
I'm down.
Contest in the long run. Like, yeah.
Seeing you stream in an absolute age. What's up, Bubble Vixen? It's good to see you, man.
Their Widow's like hitting pretty good shots. And here, I mean, it's pretty close to over. There's not a whole lot you can do at this point other than just like sit on the payload.
Can't find them.
Generally, you don't want to contest payload by yourself, of course, but in that last-ditch effort, you have no other choice. And when it's down to the wire like that, it's probably better for you to not try to even do any damage, just hide like around the payload, hide in front of the payload, and try to avoid the Roadhog, avoid the other sources of damage, just to get a few extra seconds out of there. Because if you shoot at them, they're just going to see you right away and kill you.
Let them play your account.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. See where we actually get to start fighting.
Alright, let's go left, go right.
I couldn't even walk. I was a young lad.
There was someone behind us. We got Diva. Okay. No, we're up one. We're up one. Go.
That's good focus.
One.
That's good call out. You're up
We're
one.
up one. Come on.
Good job. I like your communication. I like how you're saying these kinds of things that you're up one. Like, it's definitely good of a support player to be doing that. This is pretty good positioning right here. Like, you're keeping yourself very safe. Unfortunately, your team's like really spread out right now, and that Diva in the hallway.
Yep.
You probably like. There's no way you could have known that that Roadhog was right there. But if you had continued to walk all the way to get the Diva and healer, you would have not been healing any of these other guys around. And
I'm down, no hate.
You probably in that situation could have just left your Diva. Like, let her come to you instead of you going all the way back to her and having no other healing options.
Let's group up. Do another push. Give him mana boost. Just die on point. Come on.
Let's see. You get the 3-man res here, I think. It's only 2. I guess one person respawned just as soon as you pop that.
Comes down.
Yeah, unfortunately, they had Tech Visor right as you were rezzing.
Yeah, just go throw a game. But it looks like I'm not gonna win this anyway.
This is sort of maybe just a team planning thing. This would be easier to coordinate in Nightfall as opposed to just pugs, but you could say something like, okay, everybody, we're gonna go in, use no ults, but fight on the point. You could have, if you had stated to do that, then your team would have fight on the point. The other team would have popped their Tech Visor. They could have chosen to use other ultimates. And then you come in with your res, and then after that, your team has your cooldowns, you have your ultimates. And then, like, for example, your Genji, instead of blading before he died, then he could have had blade after he was rezzed, and then use that to wipe their team.
Top left.
It's kind of like playing the long game in terms of the ult economy.
I can't believe he has a. Hey, we're on point. Let's get the point.
At this point, yeah, you're on the point. You had someone up on the balcony over there that you could have flown to. Yeah, it's just a tough position for Mercy. Like, you shouldn't necessarily fly to individuals in such an exposed spot like the point right there. You could have just as easily stayed up on the balcony and healed your Diva, who was down there, who had just bombed, and you could also have healed your friends that were up there with you.
Yeah? This is fucking bullshit. Here we go. I'm at 80% res. Get on that point and die. I'm gonna have res soon. Get on the point and die. On the point and die. Almost there.
This was another thing, like, maybe, I'm sure you realized it afterward, but you could have whipped out your pistol and gotten the res off a little bit faster. Like, that was cutting it extremely close to being waiting too long and not even having the overtime. But if you got like 1 or 2 shots off as Mercy, you would have gotten maybe 2% ult charge, that remaining 2%, and gotten the res faster. So yeah, that's the first map.
I lost.
And yeah, I think some of it was a few positioning things. Like, I think just from that first map, it seemed like you had a tendency to want to fight the point, like you want to get in the action. But it would also be beneficial to take a little bit of a step backward as a support character. You're probably the most vulnerable class And so stay back, hang out with your team, trust that they're going to do their job and do the DPS, and then you'll be there sitting back with your team helping them out do that. So anyway, good first round, good first map. I'll see you in the next one.